So good evening everyone. So today we have a relatively easy project. It's going to be changing a radiator on my C6 Corvette. So for the last, I would say maybe the last 5 or 6 months since I own it, maybe the last 2 or 3 months, I've been noticing that there's been like a little puddle forming underneath the front driver's side of the radiator for my car. Eventually the check engine light went off of like check oil coolant level, and of course it was low at that time. So I just added some water and I did some little bit of investigation and found that down in here it is actually leaking from the left side of the radiator. Can't really pinpoint it, but usually radiators last about 8 or 10 years or 100,000 miles or so. This car is about 115,000 miles, so it's about time for the radiator to go out. So the first thing you want to do is, I normally don't back my car in or back any of the cars in, because of the garage is like 2 doors, and so it's really narrow and little room for error. But this time I backed it in so that when coolant drips out on the ground, I can just spray it out on the driveway. I know that might be an EPA violation, but we'll water it down and kind of make it a little bit more friendly. So first thing I'm gonna do is back it in, then lift the hood up to try to let the engine cool a bit. I've been driving for a while, so I'm gonna let the engine cool so I don't get burned by coolant. I'm gonna turn the fan on here and try to point at the engine to help cool it down some more, and then start disconnecting some hoses and intake and all that stuff. So let's go and get started. So as of right now, have the fan shroud off, what is it called? This thing, the filter with the air intake and the mass airflow sensor, that's off. Disconnected one hose over there. Now I'm going to jack it off and drain it from the bottom, just so that I already made the mistake in pulling this top hose off right here first, and some of it fell onto this electronic component here, but not too badly, and I plugged it back in. So I'm going to let it drain from the bottom, and then hopefully it's done at the top, then I can disconnect all the hoses without letting anything drain on the electronics. Alright, turned the drain cock and got fluid leaking out. I'm gonna go grab one of my buckets here and catch it. You know, try not to be too bad about the environment. Catch this a little bit. I'm gonna let it all drain out, and then I'll start disconnecting all the hoses and transmission, cooling lines, and all those other everything else. Okay, got the lower radiator hose undone, which is this one right here. This really big fat one coming out of the water pump. And they'll go on a second. And so this really big, that really big one right here, that right there in the center, it comes out of the water pump and goes towards the bottom. Got that disconnected. Also got both of these transmission cooling lines disconnected. There's one on the top. And as we come down here, you can see right there, and that's the one on the bottom. And right there, you can see that that's the right here where the hook is pointing. That's the bottom of the coolant line coming out of the water pump. So got all that disconnected. The last thing we have to do So the last thing we have to do is basically just separate it here from the I don't know if it's called the AC condenser. I know it has to do with the AC, which is go ahead and hook this right here, which is this right here that goes in front of the radiator. Disconnect this from the radiator. They just kind of slide in there in little slots, and also the fans as well. They slide into, they sit on the radiator. They got like little hooks that allows it to sit on top of each other. So you just kind of got to pull it straight out, and so that's what we're gonna do next. Alright, got the old radiator out. Found out that the cooling fans were actually bolted to the old radiator, as well as like the condenser for the air conditioning. As you can see right here, there was one bolt there, and then there's another one that was right there. So I mean, of all the Vettes that I've owned and changed radiator on, the C6 seems to be the hardest one. But anyway, let's go ahead and get the new one opened. I ordered it from my favorite auto parts store, which is Rock Auto, because I called O'Reilly's and they were trying to quote me $268 for a new radiator, and I got this one from Rock Auto for $112 shipped. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this opened and go ahead and get it installed. Alright, so here's a new radiator. About to go ahead and slide it in. This is a Denso unit, as I said. It only costs like $112. Comes with its own connectors here, so I don't have to reuse the old ones. But yeah, let's go ahead and get it started. Okay, I got the car everything about buttoned back up. Car lowered down to the ground. Install, putting back in was a lot easier than taking it out. Next thing is to do is to go ahead and put coolant in there, check for leaks, start it up, and let it run and make sure it holds temperature. I know it's like 1 o'clock in the, Jesus, I know it's like 1 o'clock at night, but it'll be okay. There's still a little bit of fluid in there. But yeah, gonna go ahead and fill it up. So what I got here is, I like to use a straight mixture. You can get the 50-50 for like $13, but you pay an extra $2 and you get straight mixture. So basically this can turn 1 gallon into 2 gallons when you make it 50-50. So go ahead and mix it all up and put it in there. Alright, so we got it filled up all the way to the brim. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start the car and let it warm to temperature. Wait for the thermostat to open so it can start letting coolant into the radiator and circulating the engine, and we'll add as we go along. Pretty straightforward process. If I don't have another video after this, thank you for watching, and please like and please subscribe.